because she was not prepared to answer some of the questions, didn't have the necessary information, and maybe somebody higher up in their chain of command should have been there to address some of that. But now we're bringing them in to listen to their pitch, you know, from them specifically, and answer some of those questions. I would prefer to change the style of meeting from a work study session to a legislative session, because I would potentially be ready to call the vote during that meeting and make a decision then versus drag it out any number of days after that. I myself have my mind, for the most part, made up, but willing to listen to everybody's testimony. But at some point in time, a decision just has to be made, one way or the other, for the sake of everybody involved, whether it be Black Mountain or our constituency. Dragging it out any longer is just keeping people riled up or keeping a company wondering what's going to happen. Can they move forward with their project or not? So I'm prepared to and I would suggest that we change it from a non-legislative work study session to a legislative session where we have the ability to, you know, call the vote should we deem fit at some point in time during that meeting or at the conclusion of that meeting. I'm not sure if you're in agreement with me or not, but
I know sometime in the past we've had things, we've had meetings in which it said this will be for discussion and possible vote, you know, and so you leave that open.
Mhm.
And what you, I don't think if we call it a work study session, it has to, that legally limits us to say you can't vote. It's just a work study session unless we position it that way. I'd be glad to change the name of it too, just to get away from that. But I do remember in time past that it's something like
It's at the bottom.
it's at the bottom. All items on the agenda include the opportunity for board consideration, discussion, and possible action.
yeah.
That's on there. As far as I'm concerned, if we just noticed it as a regular meeting with that same, but with only one thing on the agenda, and with that on there, it gives us the right to vote or not vote.
Yeah.
We need that.
To me, it's our terminology that we use. When we say work study, we've always promoted work studies as a non-legislative, no action being taken meeting. And so I don't want to label this meeting as a work study session, because I would rather, honestly, I'd rather put it to bed one direction or the other next week. I think we've gotten a ton of testimony on one side. We're going to hear additional testimony from the other side. For all parties involved, I think we should probably go ahead and take action next week and not drag it out any further.
I'm okay with that.
Or have that option. Maybe during the process it sparks something where we need to think a little bit.
Absolutely.
I would rather leave it open as a regular meeting to where if we deem necessary, we'll take action.
I'm okay with that, as long as we leave it open for a possible vote. I don't want to say that we're going to vote next Thursday. If something comes up that we don't know, and then we've said we're going to vote, and then you have to vote it down, or vote it up, vote it down, whatever, to try to keep it going. Let's just say, I'm okay that we change this, because a work study session, what I did last year, what we've done, is we start out a work study session by saying, this is for information, I've said this every time, this is for information purposes only. We will make no votes or decisions at this meeting.
Right.
And we bring back the information to the next commission meeting. I'm okay with having a commission meeting next Thursday, because I've absorbed a lot of stuff. All this stuff is Black Mountain stuff, and I've got a stack probably about that big at my desk at the house that I've studied. So I got a lot of stuff. I'm not an expert yet, but I got a lot of stuff. And so I'm kind of getting wary of all it, and I think my decision's been made too, but I can't speak for the rest of the other two. So I'm okay with having a motion to change our work study session, although I've already told people when I've answered them that we're got a work study session. We can change that. We can post that on our calendar that the meeting next week has been changed from a work study session to a commission meeting. We can do all that.
I really think it'd be good
Yeah.
to just notice it like a regular
Yeah.
meeting, and then communicate that with the amount of information that we've received, we want to hold open the option of voting. And so, it would, in other words, it'd just be a regular commission meeting with one thing on the agenda, and that's best.
Okay. And of course, we're gonna have our county attorney there, and I just want people to know that in my research, and you may have researched the same thing, in my research, Black Mountain Country has filed 2 lawsuits in this country in the last 1 year against counties that they said that they had met all requirements to do business in the county, and they felt like they had the rug pulled out from under them. I know that we have been very careful in stating that we've not made one iota of any type of communication to them that we were gonna make this thing happen. We're just studying it. We're just studying this. And I even asked Mr. Todd Weisenhahn, I said, you didn't indicate to them, because you were the ones that initially talked to them. I mean, that contract between Neil Stinger, the developer, and them has nothing to do with us. And we weren't involved. We're not indicating that we want them to be here or we encourage them to be here. We're just studying the issue. I don't want to get into a lawsuit later on. And so just know that for some reason, this company, and I think Show Me Christian County, who I was just talking to Ms. Kristen before the meeting started, they're in favor of this, and they're gonna testify. Some of their people are gonna testify. I don't know whether they've sent some kind of signal out that this would be good for the county, or that they think it's gonna happen. I don't know, but it just, there's a lot of stuff going on right here with this.
Sure.
All right, okay, so let's get a motion.
No,
Oh, no.
can't do a motion,
Oh, I'm sorry,
communications.
I'm sorry. So we'll get a
You're
motion.
you're the presiding commissioner, you call the meeting, you can
Yeah.
label it a
Yeah.
work study
We don't
or a
need to-
regular
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Then we'll
if-
just
if-
check.
You're covered either way.
Yeah, I'll just
That
change it.
paragraph is on every single one
Yeah,
of your
okay,
agendas.
then we'll just change it. We'll send I'll start sending notice out. Ms. Kayla, you guys and Maddie was gonna make sure that we sent that notice out. We've got citizens saying they don't know anything about the meeting next week. We're gonna make sure we get that out, and we're just gonna say it's a commission meeting, okay? Okay,
Sounds good.
and then
We're good.